And we're live! Hello all and welcome. And I'm the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. Sorry for starting late. It's 7:03 now, 7:04. Yikes. Sorry about that. I had some technical problems with my camera, so I had to restart my computer. You know, that takes a few minutes. Well, more. About 5 minutes, so... yeah, that accounts for it entirely. So again, I apologize, and I thank you for your patience if you stuck around. So I've been very busy, very, very busy. For those of you who are not familiar with my content, or maybe you are, I generally don't make content on the weekend. I'm so busy, but now I'm going to be making content on the weekend as well. What the hell? Why not be a little more busy, right? So on Saturdays, I'm going to make a question and answer where I answer your good questions, address your good comments, and on Sunday I will make stupid shit people say and my responses. That should be fun. All right, so what's going on in the news today? Let's just jump right into it, shall we? No, don't need too much preamble today. Okay, we got some weird shit going on here. Yeah. Monday's always good. Nice long weekend, lots of wacky stories to collect, and hence lots of stuff to comment on. All right. Number one. Having multiple devoted boyfriends is wonderful, says Polyandrous woman. Anybody ever heard of this? This is kind of a new movement. You got polyamory, which is the act of engaging with multiple sex partners, but supposedly being in a committed relationship with one of them. Or being in a committed relationship with multiple partners, which I really don't understand. This is, of course, how the left changes things, right? Change the definitions. Everything's open to interpretation. Words have no meaning. There's only your truth. You can label something whatever you want to label it and find some way to justify that action. Yeah. So many women may casually date multiple guys. Yeah, that's part of the problem with today's world, okay? Many women can and do. No accountability, no responsibility. Don't have to worry about getting knocked up because you can just get an abortion, eh? Don't need to find a good guy. Don't need to get married and settle down. Nah. Can have my fun. I don't understand. Any of you out there ever played with kids? I like kids. Kids are fun. And, I enjoy kids. I haven't played with them much. Don't have much time to be around them. I'm not around them much. But, you see other people's kids. They're cute. They're funny. They're interesting because, everything's new to them. I would think that having your own kids and playing with those kids and raising those kids, that would be the most fun thing in the world. It's almost as if women think they're somehow missing out on something, or they've missed out on something in their past, or all women have missed out on something in their past. So now, these modern day women, they in some way think they owe it to the women of the past to live their life as much as possible and do all the things that those women of the past weren't able to do. Or willing to do, because there would have been a huge stigma attached. So they live their lives very promiscuously and then die alone and unhappy, wondering what the fuck they did wrong. This is what you did wrong, bitches. But some modern day women are practicing polyandry. Okay, so we got a whole new word here. So I thought it was polyamory. Okay, this is something different. All right. Having multiple husbands. Isn't that illegal? At least in the West, excuse me. Thought that was bigamy. Having multiple husbands, or in a contemporary repurposed definition, several serious or lifelong partners. Okay, this is the thing, all right? There's only so many hours in a day, and you as a person only have so much time and effort you can devote to a number of different tasks. If you do this, you can't do that. If you do that, you can't do this. How exactly can you have multiple serious partners? Doesn't it take all your time and energy and effort and focus to make one relationship work? I don't understand that. How can you have multiple serious relationships? Well, of course you can't. You can't. That's just a myth. This is bullshit. This is total bullshit. Just don't be in a serious relationship, right? This isn't serious. Multiple lifelong partners, and of course have no kids, just, exist to bang them all, right? Till you're old and these men toss you aside for somebody better because none of them are married to you, or maybe one of them is. One of them is some pathetic loser beta dude who actually married you and is perfectly okay to cuck you out. Yeah, this is so sad. This is so sad. I wonder if you ladies know what you're doing to yourselves. You're not enjoying life. You think you are, but you're just fulfilling all these feminist tropes that have been thrown at you, and you think you're accomplishing something. You're not. You're not fulfilling a dream. You're not fulfilling Martin Luther's dream or whatever contemporary feminist you're trying to live up to, their standards. I mean, it's ridiculous. So polyandry, the female-focused version of polygamy, excuse me, I haven't had my coffee yet. Helps to loosen up the phlegm. All right. So polyandry, the female-focused version of polygamy, is technically illegal in the United States. Technically. Only technically. Thus, those who practice it do so without literally getting married. I would say polyandry. Believe me, if they could marry you, they would. Can you imagine one woman being married to 3 guys and she stiffs them all for child support and half their shit? And if they could, they would. Believe me. I would say polyandry is when a woman has many male partners. Dr. Denise Rain. Doctor says she's a shrink. So, of course, a shrink is pushing this stuff. I've told you before. Psychology is a pseudoscience, okay? It's nothing more than a way to deconstruct Western society by redefining all the behavior that is normal and okay is abnormal, or just, not the only normal, right? Yes, homosexuality is normal. Polyandry is normal. These are not alternative lifestyles. These are as valid and normal and okay as the cisgendered scum who've been telling everybody they're the normal for so long. Yeah. It's bullshit. Psychology's bullshit, okay? It's not a real thing. It's not a science, all right? It's not a fucking science. It's just a way for some leftist, somebody who's been indoctrinated into leftist groupthink ideology, to get into a position to then tell you how to live your life, what is normal, how to deal with your issues. And invariably, the way that they tell you to deal with your issues, walk you through how you're going to deal with those issues, is somehow related to making you more feminine as a man. Yeah. As a Wayman, just a lot of talking. They love talking. All right, so far, what do you think? All right, you can contact the show through Skype. I no longer use a phone number. So contact the show through Skype by typing in the Realist Philosopher. Oh, I forgot to type that. Forgot to open that, excuse me. All right, open up Skype here. Crazy. Polyandry. So essentially what they're saying here is you want quantity over quality, or they push this bullshit that you can have both. Right? That you can have both quality and quantity. What a bunch of crap. Total crap. You cannot have both quality and quantity, okay? Not really. Not really. You can have one or you can have the other. At least not when it comes to relationships, okay? Maybe you can have quantity and quality, in regards to other things. If you're a rich motherfucker and you buy 10 Lamborghinis, okay. You've got quantity and quality. It depends on the situation, right? Depends on what you're talking about. Dr. Denise Rain, a San Francisco-based psychologist who specializes in sex and intimacy. All modern-day psychology is, all psychology is in general, is a way of reprogramming people to leftist groupthink ideological frameworks of approaching the world, and not how you think about it, because leftists don't think. That's why they have their ideology, to do their thinking for them. But that doesn't mean a woman can't dream of putting a ring on those many male partners. Could you imagine having multiple wives? Oh my God. Drive me nuts. I can barely deal with one woman griping and moaning, and I don't right now. I'm single. I'm a bachelor, baby. But I don't think I would, at my age, really be able to tolerate just one of them. Constantly yammering and nagging in my ear. Get this, get that, do this, do that. Bitch, I don't work for you. Just gets tiresome. And then, of course, they always want to clean. It's so funny. They never do any fucking cleaning until you are doing something you enjoy. And then all of a sudden, I've become a modern day, a classic traditional woman, not modern day, because modern day women don't actually do anything in the house as far as housework because it's somehow demeaning to them. But it's okay for you to do it. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to pass. Hey, listen to this. Having multiple husbands was something I had thought about since early adolescence. Oh, boy. Uber feminist, single mommy who was probably stooping lots and lots of fucking guys. Great role model there, mama. I even asked my mother about it. And she laughed and said it would be way too much work. This is probably the same mom that was banging multiple guys that gave her the idea in the first place. So a 44-year-old woman from Boulder, Colorado, who goes by Gislaic, tells broadly. What the fuck kind of name is Gislaic? Very active in her local kink community. So you've replaced a meaningful life, a stable life. You've replaced a life that has meaning, that has real joy and happiness with hedonism. Local kink community is a mistress. This is so weird. It's almost like these people are a lot like vegans. You know how vegans, they focus all their time and effort and energy and even their identity on what they eat and how they eat, and they make it into a fucking cause. Same with these people who follow these kinks. It's almost like their whole life is devoted to something that is just one aspect of life. It's not the totality of life itself. So instead of having a full, robust, meaningful life, where all aspects of your life are full and involve meaning and bring happiness to you, and instead you get this, a life focused on local kink bondage community and polyandry. Gislaic is currently seeking 3 husbands in a scenario she likens to big love. She's probably fat, hence the word big. Only with a higher level of control and authority on my part and way better sex. God. So let me get this straight. You're opting out of having kids. You're opting out of having a partner who has virtue and values that match yours, and your coupling and living together and being a couple and having kids together would bring joy and happiness and meaning to your life, even once you're done with that meaningless paper shuffling that you do as a wayman, right? Because you think that somehow is what you should be doing as a good feminist. All right? And you get to have your grandkids, and maybe if you live long enough, even great-grandkids, and you get to watch them and take them out and, sneak them $5 because, Mom doesn't want them to be given money. Of course, these days, most parents are so indulgent, they don't give a fuck. But I remember my grandparents on my mother's side, every weekend, and I don't know why this stopped, but there was a period there where every weekend they would take me out, and we'd go to, I think it was Wendy's. And, Wendy's used to have this soft ice cream thing, soft ice cream / shake that they served, and it was fucking delicious. And They buy me this great meal, get me a fucking sundae, whatever the fuck it was, and then slip me $5 or something. And I wasn't supposed to tell my mother, but my mother would figure it out anyway. You don't get to have that. You don't get to have any of that. You won't have grandkids. You won't have kids. You'll just have some kink bondage and cat o' nine tails. What an empty life. What an empty fucking life. Well, some women like Gislaic relish the chance to celebrate polyandry. Other women in polyamorous communities view having multiple male partners as simply an inherent facet of the general polygamous, polyamorous lifestyle. I don't know. Women don't want submissive guys, okay? I mean, they do and they don't. They think they do, but then they get them, and then they're not content because they really, deep down, want a real man, not a pussy. And only a pussy would be okay with this. So polyandry is polygamy for women. In either case, marriage is the key component that differs it from polyamory. It's not something that is, oh, you can't get married to multiple partners, so it's just symbolic. It's not like there's a real commitment there because people recognize you can't commit in a relationship to multiple partners. That's the whole point of commitment. It's all your time, all your effort, all of your energy in regards to a relationship focused on one person. But, oh, let's just change the definition of commitment. Yeah. Of course, right. Because we can do that now. We can change the meanings of words because we don't like the original meanings. Too constricting, too confining. So it's not something that's widely discussed. Yeah. Shouldn't, yeah, oh God. Oh boy, we're becoming Babel, right? Tower of Babel, Babylon. We're becoming, oh. So next we have someone named Blue. I guess that's a nickname. Has multiple male partners herself and says more men offer more emotional support. Because it's all about you, right? Are you enough for him? I don't think so. Not to mention the sexual benefits, right? Because that's all we should really care about, right? Empty, meaningless, vapid sex with some whore. My partners have different strengths, styles, points of view, all coming together to be an amazing support network for me, because I'm the most important thing in the universe, and I have no virtue. I'm just a cum dumpster. It also provides me different sexual experiences, somewhat eliminating monotony that inevitably happens in all long-term relationships. I got to be honest here. I never had this experience. I mean, when I was in a long-term relationship, I never wanted another woman. I just didn't. I mean, I've got one. What do I need others for? This emptiness, this belief that there's somehow something that can feed you in terms of quality by variety. I've never had that. I mean, I pick a partner for a certain reason. That person has certain values, virtues that match me. The sex is always just fine. I don't need anything else. But I guess if you have no virtue and no values, you're going to pick partners who have no virtue and value, either because nobody with virtue would want to be with somebody virtueless. And if somebody had low self-esteem and they did get with somebody who had no virtue, guess what? You wouldn't get anything out of the sex except the sex, because there's no alignment there along virtues. Virtue doesn't feed virtue. You are only dealing with the sexual aspects. So somebody who is empty and vapid, lives a meaningless life, is only going to get the physical out of it. This is so bizarre. So fucking bizarre. This is a long article, too. Fuck me. I don't want to read all this. Jesus Christ. It's just some broads trying to convince themselves that this alternative lifestyle is somehow normal, is somehow okay, and it's going to make them just as happy as a man and a woman deciding to commit to each other. You can't fucking commit to 12 people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to destroy your little fucking illusion, all right, and burst your bubble. So annoying. So fucking annoying. All right, I'm going to move on. This is really, this is part of the problem, okay, with the West. You've got people really embracing these deviant lifestyles, that if you do have kids within such a lifestyle, you're just going to create somebody who themselves is unable to commit and form a stable pair bond with a partner that is going to produce strong, stable, independent kids who can think for themselves, which is exactly what the system doesn't want. So let's create people with no foundation Thereby, they will not build a strong sense of identity, and we can grab onto them early and control them for their entire life. So freaking sad. Ladies, you are not embarking on a fulfilling, happy, wonderful fucking life that is going to make your day, make your life happy and wonderful. 4 husbands. I have 4 husbands. I'm so happy. Yeah, you think you are. You're not. You've never experienced real, true happiness, so you don't have a clue. And whatever you are experiencing that you think is happiness, it ain't. It's just physical contentment, and that does not last. Notice that one woman, 44. She's looking for an arrangement, a new arrangement, because she had an old one that didn't work out. Probably constantly cycling through men who eventually get tired of her. She's nothing but an empty vortex, void, abyss that they're constantly dumping both emotional and physical resources into, and it's a never-ending, bottomless fucking pit. And women like this are just going to cycle through guys throughout their entire life and never have any real meaning. So sad. Do not fall for such a lifestyle. Certainly don't, men out there, have fucking 3 or 4 wives. Oh, my God. Talk about a living hell. All right, let's move on to something a little more humorous. Minnesota Wayman pleads guilty after 64 dead cats found on her property. To proverbial cat lady. A Minnesota woman pleaded guilty on Friday after more than 100 animals, including 64 dead ones, were found on her property. This is so bizarre. I can't imagine having 64 cats. I've been in a house of people who have like 4 cats, and the house smells like cat shit. And that's with like multiple litter boxes. You know how a litter box works? It's really quite disgusting, actually. And you might as well have a kid, because cats are so much trouble. So what it is this big fucking bin full of this weird sand-like substance. But modern-day cat litter is made to specifically catch and condense around poo and piss. So how it works is the cat pisses in it or dumps in it, and the sand, well, it's not really sand. It's some kind of artificial, chemical dirt. I don't know what it is. Clumps and condenses into a lump when it's piss. And if it's crap, it sticks onto the surface. So then you have to take a freaking, I don't know, a sieve of some kind, and scoop it out. It's like a spoon with lots of holes in it, so the sand that doesn't stick to the poo or piss will fall through back into the bin. So you have to scoop out clumps of piss and shit and put it into a garbage bag every day, because you can't let it build up within the litter box. So daily you have to spoon out shit and piss from a little animal. You know, if fucking aliens were looking at fucking human beings from space to a giant fucking telescope that was also some kind of X-ray telescope, I guess, and they could see through the walls and the roof of your house, and they were watching people, they would think that the cats and dogs were running things, and we humans were their fucking servants. What do I want a cat for? I'm serving the fucking cat. I'd rather have a dog, to be honest, if I was going to have an animal. Yeah, I mean, I got to take them out for a walk, but I'm going to go out for a walk anyway. It's good. Get out there. Get some exercise, right? Cats, you can't really walk them. I saw some videos of cats recently of people trying to walk their cats. They're pulling this dead cat-looking animal along the sidewalk because the cat won't walk. They're just dragging it along the sidewalk. Cats are very ornery. They don't want to listen. They don't want to follow you. And I got to fucking clean up after them? I mean, again, you got to do that with a dog too, right? You got to carry around a little fucking baggie that you put on your hand and pick up their droppings. This is why I don't have an animal, all right? Too much trouble. I'm too busy, and it's like I'm the fucking servant of this animal. So she pleaded guilty to 64 dead cats. Casey Bregel, 25. This is a really weird thing. She's not an old cat lady. She's a good-looking broad. She's a solid 7. She got blue hair. She's got blue eyes, blonde hair, pretty face, good-looking broad. Strange. Mental problems. You got to have mental problems. She was sentenced to 200 hours of community service, 2 years of probation, and 90 days of electronic home monitoring. What? This is weird. She got more punishment than Jussie Smollett. What the fuck? She killed some cats. She let some cats die of starvation. She's getting punished more than Jussie Smollett. Jesse, smell it, smell my finger, Jesse. I like that smell. I like that smell. I think I'm going to turn gay so I can smell that some more. Smollett. God. Fucking A. 200 hours of community service. What did he get, 16? And it was already served because he'd already fucking 2 years before done some community service where he bounced some fucking balls around or bought some fucking basketballs for some poor fucking foster kids and bounced them around a bit. I'm a gay movie star. I'm a gay TV star. Want to play basketball with me? Who the fuck are you? Say these fucking foster kids. I'm Jesse Smollett. Can I smell your finger? Can I smell your bunghole? We got another Michael Jackson here. Yeah, she pleaded guilty to 13 counts of animal cruelty. Okay, so some broad in Minnesota. Yeah, she didn't take care of her animals. She gets more punishment than Juicy Smollett, who wastes a lot of police officers' time and incurs millions of dollars in debt on behalf of the state. That's lovely. 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 She also has to undergo a psychological examination. You think? Women need shrinks, by the way. Men don't need shrinks. We have logic, we have reason, we have critical thinking. We can solve our own problems. Now, the left, wacko feminists, they don't want men to be strong. They don't want us to be able to solve our own problems. They want to hamstring us. So they tell us we need therapy. You need therapy just like a Wayman. Solve your problems the way Wayman do. Yeah, okay. Yeah. North Carolina animal abuse laws don't cover fish, but they cover cats. Good to know. So Bregel ran the nonprofit Minnesota Animal Rescue. She drew attention in May when a law enforcement officer responded to several calls regarding a loose 400-pound pig in her neighborhood. What? Rescued a 400-pound pig. I'd have eaten that motherfucker. It's good eating. When investigators used a search warrant to search the home, they said they discovered 43 cats, 64 dead cats. She had over 100 cats? Fuck me. A guinea pig and 5 dogs. And a 400-pound pig? I just read these stories for comedic effect. They just make me laugh because some of the other stories are so depressing. They found numerous cats and dogs in poor health and said an overpowering smell of urine and feces was detected on the property. This reminds me of that Mayim Balak, the one who believed in that attachment parenting, the nutty broad from The Big Bang Theory, and it was on that show Blossom that sucked many, many years ago, decades ago. Remember, she tweeted out that tweet. She was lying on her couch or bed or something, and she had cat shit and piss all around her head, and she was depressed because she was single. Yeah. Well, I guess it's a bad idea to sleep with your kid until they're 7 or 8 years old because you're really afraid of being alone with your husband. Yeah, your husband's not getting any nookie for 7, 8 years, but that relationship's going to work out. Yeah, I don't think so. Feminism strikes again. Dead cats were found in shallow graves across the backyard, in freezers and refrigerators, and in the garage? What? This is so bizarre. She's like an animal serial killer keeping trophies and shit. Dead cats in freezers, fridges, and in the garage? They're stacked like cordwood. Wow. This is so bizarre. This shit's fascinating. I'm a student of human behavior, so this shit really fascinates me. Well, not that much, honestly. Some cats had to be euthanized, including one which had both eyes matted shut due to yellow discharge. Ugh. Yeah, okay, this ain't all that fascinating. Bregel reportedly received close to 150 cats from the Animal Humane Society between July 2017 and February 2018. How much you want to make a bet she was getting lots of donations and making a living off of supposedly taking care of these cats? But she's a good young broad, good-looking young broad, so she probably spent that money on clothes and movies and dinners out. Because she's a nutty bitch. No guy wanted to take her out, which is unfortunate. She's a good-looking broad. It's too bad she's nuts. So Keith Streff of the organization told the news station that sometimes people who foster animals can break down easily. Yeah. Have a kid. Have a kid, for God's sake. What the fuck? It's got to be more trouble to take care of a couple hundred fucking animals than it is one kid. If we knew why people do what they do, we'd fix it. But we can't withhold animals from everyone because we have a suspicion there's going to be a problem, he said. Wow. 64 dead fucking cats. Good-looking broad. Could have found herself a nice husband, settled down, had babies, but instead she tried to fill the void in her life with cats. Or like that broad, those broads before, with multiple men. Wow. Weird. Weird. Seems like women are becoming more dysfunctional, not less. Oh my God. We're living in a bizarre time. Bizarre time. Jesus Christ. 1 second. Springtime, allergies. Ugh. All right, Bernie's back. Just when you thought Bernie had dis-a-fucking-peared. Now he's back. He's going to run for president, he says. You know, I would think that you would know when you lost. I would think that a loser would be a good loser, right? Like if you step into the ring with Mike Tyson and you get your ass soundly thrumped in like 12 seconds, not even 12 seconds. Within 5 seconds, he's knocked you out. It's like, okay. Maybe I'll come back strong and try again. I guess that's what he's doing or thinks he's doing. But come on, man. What are you going to last? 10 seconds this next time? Good God, man. Have some dignity. Well, you know, he's a socialist. They don't have any dignity. All right, Jesus Christ. So Senator Bernie Sanders says, we need an economy in government that works for everybody, not just the 1%. I don't know what he's talking about. The economy... He's talking as if there's some kind of system set up that's working for somebody. This is just like this idea of wealth being distributed. Distributed by who? Could you show me the building? Could you show me the organization? Could you show me the people that are working for this bureaucratic redistribution network? Oh, they're called social workers. Oh, it's called welfare. I see. So the only wealth that's being redistributed, you pinhead, is the wealth you're stealing from rich people to give to poor people. I see. This myth that wealth is initially distributed. We have to redistribute wealth. Wealth is distributed to the wrong people. I don't do a good Bernie. I don't do a good Bernie at all. I wish I did, but 1%. Have we got the top 1% to have 50% of the wealth? Yet they're the ones that produce 50%. It's very interesting to me. He doesn't seem to understand that the square root is very fascinating. In fact, these numbers match up almost exactly. So the square root of any group produces half the wealth. And it is very interesting. The square root of the American population has half the wealth. It matches up almost perfectly. But that's unfair. It's unfair. They produced it, but it's not fair that they have it. So I make 100 chairs, but it's unfair that I have 100 chairs and everybody else has 1 chair. What? Okay, Bernie. Okay, crazy Bernie. I see how anybody takes this fucking guy seriously. It has to be because they just want free shit, right? It has to be just because they want what they think is free stuff. And nothing's free, by the way. Really annoys me how people talk about free stuff. There's no such thing. All free is somebody else is paying for your ass. How could you be okay with that? What kind of pathetic loser are you? I can't pay for my own lunch. I can't pay for my own lodging, so I'm going to justify stealing other people's shit. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, is that fair? Is that fair that you're taking from others to pay for yourself? It's fair. Okay, Bernie. Oh, this is great. In America today, we have more wealth and income inequality. What do I care? Than any other major country on earth. And it's worse now than any other time since the 1920s. You know, I would rather have 1% of the dudes with half of a ton of wealth. And that means the other half, there's a shitload of wealth that I still get to, you know, access via getting a job, right? And by the way, I'm contributing. It doesn't even work that way. I'm not accessing wealth. There's no pie. I'm creating wealth. Wealth is created. See, it's very easy for people to play into this popular trope that there's just this one big fucking pie. And everybody's feeding out of that trough, the same trough, and eating the same pie. But you've got some greedy assholes who are eating more of the pie than they have a right to eat. Because there's only one pie, everybody should get an equal share. It doesn't work like that. There's multiple pies. Everybody can create their own pie. When we're speaking of the wealth cumulatively, we're just taking everybody's fucking pie and adding all the pies up and then looking at all those pies cumulatively and saying, this is how much wealth our nation has, and it's unfair. It's unfair that some of these people have more fucking pies. I'm going to represent all these different pies as one pie. One fucking pie. So I can dishonestly push the fucking trope that some people are unfairly taking from others. And then I can justify stealing from them. To give some fucking college kids, some entitled cunt college kids, free college, which is really just me stealing from fucking rich people. But that's okay, because everybody hates rich people. Because we've conditioned them to hate the rich people. Wait a second, I'm rich. Fuck. Burning his 3 fucking mansions and his multi-million-dollar fortune. This communist scumbag. It's amazing how the biggest advocates for fucking socialism are always rich people, right? It's great. Rich politician assholes. Oh, boy. What do I care about income inequality? Okay, so let's say we have a cumulative wealth in America of, say, let's take a random number, $50 trillion. Okay, so 1% have 25% of that. I mean, half of that. 1% have 25 trillion. So they have half that wealth, all right? The other half of that is owned, is created by everybody else. Now let's look at Bernie's idea. We're going to tax the 1%. We're going to take their shit. Okay, so if you take money from the most productive people and give it to the least productive, what happens? You destroy the ability to create more wealth. You've got the 1%. They're creating half of all the wealth that exists in your country. All right? And that wealth in turn gets used to create more wealth through jobs, through productive endeavors. So what happens? Well, you de-incentivize these people from creating more because, number one, they're not getting to profit as much from their hard work and effort. You know, you're stealing more of their wealth. So they don't have as much incentive and motivation to create more. And also, number two, you're taking their wealth. And it takes money to make money. If they have no money, if they have less money to create less wealth, then they'll create less wealth. So let's look at Bernie's model. We take more from the fucking rich. So now instead of having a cumulative wealth in the country of 50 trillion, we'll have 25 or 30. Oh, we'll have more wealth inequality. Yeah, but you'll have less wealth. The poor people will have less. Yeah, okay, the rich people will have less, but so will the fucking poor people, because it turns out the rich people are the ones that create the fucking jobs, you idiot. And allow and give those poor, less able people the opportunity to access jobs to themselves gain more wealth. Yeah, Bernie is okay with wealth inequality. Yeah, oh, if everyone's a loser. I want everybody to be a loser, so nobody feels bad about themselves. I'm not okay with rich people, but I'm okay with everyone being a fucking loser. He's perfectly okay with wealth equality, but not inequality, even though you don't want wealth equality. Because then you got the old Soviet Union, where everybody's a fucking poor loser. Or Venezuela. Everybody that had money got the fuck out of that country a long time ago. They could afford to. When you're a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, you got Maduro sitting there eating a fucking sandwich on TV while everybody's starving. He wants to take my business. He wants to... he wants to steal my wealth, essentially, right? He wants to nationalize my corporation. Well, I'm going to move all my money via wire transfer to the Cayman Islands or something, or if he's tried to cut that off, I'll just take all my fucking gold and ship it out. You know, whatever way I can to get my money out of the country, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of the country. So all the people that can create wealth leave, or they move their industry somewhere else, and then you get no tax dollars. That's the other interesting thing that Bernie doesn't seem to get. People adapt their fucking behavior, okay? You know, if I go left on the street, somebody else that's going to run into me will go right. or go around me, or I'll have to go around them. It turns out when you do shit, other people adapt their behavior to your behavior. So if you try to come for their money, guess what they do? They move it. So you don't get it. There's a certain point where people just aren't going to pay more tax, and they're just going to find ways around it. So Bernie, in addition to wanting to take more of their money if he could get it, he's just going to make them move. So now you're going to get nothing. So before, where you were stealing 50% of their money, now you're trying to take 70%. That's what AOC wants to do. I want to take 70% of the money to top of $10 million. What are they going to do? Are they going to move their fucking operations to China or Zimbabwe? Well, not Zimbabwe. They hate white people. But somewhere that's going to give them a lot of tax breaks and not steal all their shit. All right. So I don't care about a fucking wealth inequality. I'm not some envious cunt that's looking at a rich person and saying, I feel bad about myself. I'm not as rich as him. Oh, that son of a bitch. He's got all that and I have so little. I should have more. Why does he have more? I want what he has. And, I have this justification. And, socialism is telling me that he has more because I have less. The zero-sum game fallacy. So I'm justified in stealing his shit. So I'm going to vote for Bernie. Yeah, what are they going to do? You're going to scare away all the rich people. So instead of having a $50 trillion cumulative wealth, you're going to have like 5. Because all the rich people are going to fucking leave. And they're going to take their wealth-creating abilities out of there. And they're going to take all the jobs that allow people that aren't quite as talented and entrepreneurial to also create wealth. Yeah. But I'm okay with that because now everybody's equal. You're focusing on the wrong things, Bernie. Unbelievably, while millions of American workers are forced to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay the bills, and over half, well, first of all, you're not forced to, okay? You made bad life choices, all right? You chose to smoke pot or whatever, snort fucking cocaine or probably meth, right? Poor man's cocaine. As a teenager, and not to really take your studies very seriously. Your parents made bad decisions too. You had a single mom. She didn't marry a strong, stable fucking man that could support her. So, you didn't grow up with a good role model or good role models in the form of modeling a good relationship for you. So you banged some broad. You had 2 or 3 kids out of wedlock. And here you are now with no skills, barely educated. And you're having to work 2 or 3 jobs to keep your head above water. That's your fault. Why should other people have to pay for your bad decisions? Well, that's what socialism's based on. Never having to take accountability for your own actions. And over half of our people live paycheck to paycheck. The 3 wealthiest families in our country now own more wealth than the bottom half of Americans. 160 million people. I don't care. I don't care. It's irrelevant. You're implying that those 3 people having that half of wealth means that the bottom half don't have it. No, it wouldn't exist. The wealth doesn't get shifted around. There's no redistribution bureau for fucking rich people. There certainly is for poor people. It's called the government and welfare. But rich people don't. This is the Bureau of Redistribution. We unfairly redistribute wealth to the top 1%. And steal it from you poor suckers. I'm twisting a mustache right now, even though you can't see it. No! That's bullshit! That wealth wouldn't even exist. And then you wouldn't have that wealth and those people to envy. And your life, you'd be even more poor than you are now. Because the jobs that are created by these 3 so rich people, well, those jobs wouldn't exist to pay tax that gives you poor losers the welfare that allows you to continue to survive and feed off of those people. Parasites. What do I care if 3 people have more wealth than the bottom half? Who cares? What do I care? I mind my own business. I live my own life. I do just fine. What do I give a fuck what you have? Losers. Only losers are concerned about what other people have. Be concerned with what you have and be happy with what you have. And if you're not happy with it, work hard to get more. If you can't get more, maybe you're not that bright. Or maybe the skills that you learned were not that marketable. That's life. Learn some new skills. Don't try to steal from me, okay? Who made better decisions than you and got educated in shit that was actually useful. Today, while hundreds of thousands of bright young people cannot afford to go to college, so what? They probably shouldn't go to college. It's a waste of time. And college is only useful for about 10% of the population who are very, very intelligent people, and it allows them to maximize their high IQs. The rest doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't do anything for them. It's like trying to turn somebody who has really bad genes and isn't good athletically into a fucking world-class marathon runner. And you open a school for runners. I can make you into a fucking gold medal winner at the Olympics. No, you can't. It's 100% genetic. I mean, okay, you got some big fatty, they want to lose weight. All right, you can run and run and run, and eventually you'll be a good runner or an average runner. But you're never going to be running a 2-hour fucking marathon like them fucking Kenyans, okay? No. College is supposed to be for a select few people from society who are pursuing professional endeavors, not to study TV or race or fucking gender. It's a waste of money. Go to a trade school. When I was a kid, we used to have fucking VOTEC. There was a VOTEC. There was a separate fucking school where you could spend half the day at VOTEC learning fucking car maintenance and fucking air conditioner repair and plumbing. This was public education. You could actually learn something that will make you a good living. Even the school I was in, you had a metal shop and you had a, what was it? I don't remember what the name of it was, but you rebuilt engines and shit in one of these classes. Don't have that anymore. People just sit around talking about culture Marxism. We're oppressed minorities. Let's be activists. Doesn't pay a salary. But hey. So today, this is great. The top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%. What do I care? I don't care. Today, while CEOs of major corporations make over 300 times than their average workers, that's because this is the thing they don't tell you. That's because these CEOs bring more than 300 times the value of these people. See, people don't understand this. The square root of a population creates half of all the wealth in that group, in that population. The difference in IQ, okay, it results in many multiples of earning capability. It results in many, many multiples of wealth creation capability. You might think that it's unfair that the CEO makes 300 times more than you, but what you don't understand is this guy with his 150 IQ, who's a genius, who works 80-hour fucking weeks, who's willing to travel all over the motherfucking place, inconvenience his life, not have kids, not have a family, or if he does, it's a horrible fucking family because, you know, they're pissed at him because he's always working all the fucking time and he doesn't get to enjoy life. His wife gets to enjoy it, but he doesn't get to enjoy life because, you know, he's working all the fucking time. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. So he's putting in double the hours you are, maybe triple the hours because he's traveling all over the fucking globe. He's doing much more work. He's stressed. He's got an ulcer, okay? He's vomiting blood. He's having to take all these fucking medications because he's got high blood pressure and shit. And he's got an IQ that's several standard deviations higher than yours, which results in, yes, he's able to create 300 times the wealth you are. See, this is the problem. Low IQ people don't really understand the gargantuan difference in wealth creation ability between somebody with, say, 100 IQ and somebody with 150 or higher IQ. You're light years apart. You cannot comprehend the magnitude of difference between your wealth creation capability and his. So it's a lack of imagination on your part, a lack of understanding. It's ignorance. And people like Bernie play on this. For 40 years, under Democratic and Republican administrations, we have seen a massive redistribution of wealth. That's not true. This is the zero-sum game fallacy. You would think that somebody as old as Bernie would have a better understanding of how reality works, but apparently not. Apparently you can live in a bubble of solipsism. You can live in this bubble of this fantasy world until you're in your 70s. You can actually exist but not live in reality for that long. It's shocking to me. Yeah, wealth redistribution and income from the working class of this country to the top 1%. Yeah, oh yeah. If I tried to explain this to Bernie, he would say, yeah, but they take the profit. They take the profit. The wealth redistribution is when they get the profit from the effort of the workers. As if the CEO isn't a worker too. I love this portrayal of the bourgeoisie as some evil elite people who are just sitting there puffing on fucking cigars, twirling their greasy mustaches and counting their piles of gold. But they don't do anything. They're not workers too, are they, Bernie? Of course, you have to call them non-workers because you have to create this separation, this distinction between them and the workers, so you can refer to them as that evil other that is inhuman, right? That way you get to hate them and treat them so shabbily, even though they're the fucking heroes that create all the jobs, all the wealth. And they're not redistributing anything. This is how it goes, okay? So socialists like Bernie talk about how wealth is stolen from the worker via profit. The worker should be getting everything. He should be getting 100% of the fruits of his labor. Well, then, what exactly is he contributing to me in terms of rent, in terms of leasing, in terms of accessing my business, my infrastructure to create the wealth that allows him to earn a fucking salary? What is he giving back? What is he giving in return to access all my shit? I love the entitlement. This is like saying I should be able to fucking go and live in your house and not pay you rent. That's really what it is. You got to think about this. This is what profit is, and this is what socialists don't understand, or if they do understand it, they dishonestly represent it as something else. This is what profit is, okay? Profit from the efforts of the lower tier production workers who are doing the manual labor, all right, which is far less productive, okay? Sorry, in terms of wealth creation, it is, than the CEO. They don't understand that, though. Yeah, I'm going to pay this CEO 300 times more than an average worker. He's not the owner of the company. He's a CEO, okay? He's hired. Why do you think he's making so much money? What do you think they're paying him 300 times more than the average worker because he doesn't create 300 times, more than 300 times what you do in terms of wealth? They couldn't afford that. They were paying him so much and he wasn't making that much. They'd go out of business because they'd be applying that principle to everybody. Oh, let's hire people and pay them more than they create in value. You'll be bankrupt in a week. People don't understand how businesses work. All right, look. If you're a worker and you're getting paid $30,000 a year, you're going to make more than $30,000 in value. You're going to create more than $30,000 in wealth for your employer. That's just how it works, okay? Because he has infrastructure, okay? He has overhead, and he has to constantly be innovating. He has to be constantly upgrading his business. He has to constantly be upgrading his manufacturing. He has to constantly be researching, creating new products, finding ever more innovative and efficient ways to create his product. He's got to create ever more efficient, better products to be competitive. So that all costs money. It can't be static. The business can't make no money. If there was no profit, they would make no money to innovate, to be more efficient, to upgrade their infrastructure, to expand and hire new employees. So the profit that you create for that employer is, in a way, you paying a lease, in a sense, a type of lease, okay, to him. You're paying a fee in the form of that profit to use his facilities, okay, to then make a salary for yourself. What entitled cunts are you? What do you think? You're going to go into the factory, you're going to use all their fucking equipment, get paid 100% of the value that you create from using all that equipment, all that infrastructure, all that marketing, right? Creating all these relationships with all these retailers that then take your product and sell it and allow you to thereby make a living. And all that infrastructure that took years and years of development and having to find investors, and it's all this licensing and regulation, and people have to be hired, constant maintenance, constant repair, constant upkeep, has to be constantly managed and supervised and maintained. And you think you shouldn't have to contribute any to that? I'm some entitled cunt. I'm just going to go in, I'm going to use your shit, so I'm an entitled cunt, and I don't have to contribute anything to its upkeep, maintenance, or anything. Well, why would I open a fucking business then if it doesn't allow me to make the money required to maintain said business and allow it to grow and remain competitive? Oh, sure, I could find a bunch of fucking investors and invest in a business, but then it wouldn't grow at all. So I invest in a business, I open it, and 40 years later, it's the same size, and then my competitors are 10 times bigger. No, I'd be out of business. Like that. You got to maximize profits so that you can maximize the amount of money available to expand, to innovate, to research, to develop better products, okay? To maintain the infrastructure that you have, to hire the best people. Oh, and we've got the CEOs. They make 300 times more than the worker. That's because they're bringing more than 300 times the value to the position. Companies don't make money by hiring people and paying them more than they're worth. I know that people are ignorant, and they're left ignorant because we have a crappy educational system in the West, and so people don't come to understand how economics works and that an employer cannot pay an employee less than they're worth, because then that employee is in no way, shape, or form contributing to the business whose facilities they are using to make money in the first place. I should be able to live in your house and pay no rent. I should be able to use your facilities to make a living for myself, but I don't have to contribute in any way, shape, or form to those facilities that I am fucking using. I love it. Oh, Bernie. How can you be so dumb, so naive, so ignorant? Being such an old fucking guy. I don't want to even read any more of this. This is so stupid. This is willful ignorance. This is willful ignorance. You have to be making a huge effort to remain this ignorant. You can't live this long unless you are employing vast amounts of cognitive dissonance on a daily basis to shield yourself from the reality of the situation. There's no other explanation. You cannot be this ignorant except through will. There's just no way. This guy, what is he, 74? 75? Jesus Christ. He has no understanding of how economics works. Yeah. Hello, I would like to work for you. Okay, what kind of salary do you want? I would like to be paid $80,000 a year. Well, the job pays 60, but I want 80. But it pays 60. Yes, but I did some research, and I know that you will make $80,000 from me. That will leave $20,000 left over after you pay me. I want that $20,000 too. But then how am I going to cover maintenance fees? How am I going to expand the business? How am I going to grow and stay competitive and have the capital reserves if anything goes wrong and we have a bad year? How am I going to develop new products, innovate new products, and stay in business so that I can continue to pay you a salary, continue to have facilities for you to use, to work in, that allow you to then make a salary? How am I going to do all this? I don't know. It's not my problem. That would be what Bernie would say. That's not my problem. That's not my problem. You'll have to figure out how to give me more money. That's the same problem with the minimum wage, by the way, okay? It ignores the fact that you can't pay somebody more than they're worth. Of course, it assumes, you see, the assumption here is that employers are trying their best to pay people as little as possible. And, okay, so obviously an employer is going to pay you what you're worth, all right? They want to get the best employees, okay? They want people who are productive, all right? If they offer too low a salary, nobody will apply. Or people who are subpar will apply. And then you won't have people that can even do that amount of work that would justify that salary. So, yeah, I mean, they pay what they can. They pay what they can, okay? Labor is very important. And businesses pay what they can afford to pay. The maximum they can afford to pay. Not the minimum. People don't understand this, all right? The only time you can really get away with paying minimums is where you have some kind of outside fucking population coming in the millions, tens of millions, and undercutting you, and they're able to work illegally under the table, very low-skilled jobs. Oh, yeah, right. Illegal immigration, essentially, something like that. That's enough. I get really animated talking about this stuff. This is basic economics, right? This is basic economics, yet more often than not, I will talk to people online, and they don't have a clue how basic economics work. They really, really don't. Yeah, an employer would love to pay as little as humanly possible, but they can't get fucking workers from their own population, okay, who are legal American citizens, all right? Now, in some cases, they can afford to hire people under the table, or they will hire people under the table. But oftentimes, either that's because their costs of operation are so high they couldn't afford to hire Americans, or yes, they're greedy and underhanded, and indeed do want to pay less and pocket more money. But the only reason they can do that is because that illegal workforce is there and available. If it wasn't, they would have to hire Americans and pay Americans what that person is worth in the free market, okay? The free market decides what a person is worth, okay? In the end, in fact, it's the customer that decides. If a customer is willing to pay a lot for something and buy a lot of something, the person that creates that something will make more because there's more demand for them. And of course, at the same time, if there's tons and tons of people available, then that'll drive down salary, and you might be better served to look for another industry to work in, okay? Market shift. It happens based on how many people are in that market and what the demand is for the product. There's a lot of things to consider when you're going to choose a job, choose a profession. The demand for that skill is one of the biggest things you have to consider. But a lot of they don't do that. No, let's not teach economics. Let's just teach people useless shit, and then when they get out of university, you know, they're essentially disillusioned because they thought if I went to university, I would make a lot of money. Well, yeah, if you study the right thing, right? If you study something there's a demand for, right? If there's a shortage in the marketplace, and very early on when you were in high school, you saw that shortage, and you also recognized that you had skills, natural talent that would serve learning and employing that skill, and then you went and learned that skill in university, and you made a good living when you got out, you used your brain. You had some understanding of how economics worked, and that served you. But now we got people running around. It's on purpose, of course, right? Create more activists. Create more people who are feeling disenfranchised, disillusioned, who hate capitalism, and thereby will embrace socialism. That's what Bernie really wants. Anyhow, let me know what you think in the comments section of this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. And also, please consider donating. I do my best to try and red pill people using logic, reason, and a little bit of humor to keep it interesting and entertaining. And if you'd like to donate, please go to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That is therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's also my website. I'm also on DLive. So, you know, if you're anything of a conservative, or at least, even if you're a centrist, right, or, you know, a little bit to the right of center, you probably are not a big fan of YouTube. Well, now I'm on DLive. Now, DLive is an alternative to YouTube. In fact, PewDiePie has went there. So he's taken his 90 million subscribers and his live streaming capability, and he's doing all his live streaming on DLive now. So I've went there. I have a page there. You'll find the link in the description of this live stream. So go down and please go to DLive and subscribe there. It has monetization. So if you like my content, you can do a one-time donation there without having to sign up for like a Patreon or something. But I could really use your long-term support. But yeah, I would really appreciate it if you go follow me on DLive. Great new platform, allows free speech to a much larger extent than YouTube. They don't do as much of the censorship essentially based on political ideology. So it's a superior platform. And hopefully it'll give YouTube a run for its money as more and more people go there. Also, if you'd like to be on the show, please consider sending me an email. If you have a specific subject or problem you'd like to talk about, send me an email at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin@therealistphilosopher.com. And I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 7 to 8 p.m. New York City time. Hopefully I'll see you then. And that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.